Welcome back. The South African Human Rights Commission has been told that women and young girls in rural areas are targets for sexual abuse because they have to walk long distances to fetch water from the rivers. This came out at a Women in Leadership and Training program in the KwaZulu-Natal Midlands. They have been testifying in an inquiry by the Human Rights Commission into access to water in KZN. Now, let's discuss this further. We're now joined via Zoom by Pavershree Padayachee, who is the Commission's acting provincial manager. Pavershree, thank you so much for your time. Of course, this is devastating news, particularly if you look at what month we are currently commemorating as women. Now, of course, this inquiry is an ongoing one, and it stems from systemic challenges around the access, to water across various districts, I would imagine, in KwaZulu-Natal. But just how much role did the recent floods play in all of this that is now being uncovered in these interviews?
The damage caused by the floods has been it has impacted on the province of KZN quite substantially. eThekwini has been one of the areas that has been hardest hit as well. But I think it's important for us to note that the challenges relating to access to water predates the challenges and the damages that resulted from the issue of the floods. The Commission's provincial inquiry on access to water is solely to deal with the systemic nature of the challenges relating to access to water in the province and issues relating to the damages and the impact on victims following from the floods is being dealt with separately by the Commission.
Now, of course, in my intro, we talked about, how this has made it worse, accessing water for women and young girls in as far as sexual abuse is concerned. Just talk to us about, those findings. What are some of the people that are currently testifying saying to you, and how bad is the problem in KZN?
Okay. I think at the outset, it's important to note that the inquiry is an investigative mechanism, and because it is ongoing, the process is considered sub judice. A lot of the things that witnesses are saying with the testimony has to be dealt with in a certain way so that the process and the proceedings of the inquiry are not jeopardized in any way. What I am able to say is that, yes, we've heard from witnesses who have indicated that there are safety concerns with regards to girl children having to collect water. We've also heard about the impact on girl children, women in particular, and those vulnerable groups who have to go and collect water, and as well as the impact in terms of them just not having any access to water, the impact of this on their mental health, their hygiene, and even elements of their spirituality that is impacted on. We've heard that there are various rituals that are required to be performed, which does require water source, and without access to water, this impacts significantly even on cultural practices.
Now, which are the areas, I'm not sure if you can say this, given that you are saying it's an ongoing investigation, but tell us which are the areas that are most affected?
In terms of the province is widely affected. The Commission has received complaints literally from all the districts in the province. That is why we've decided to convene a provincial inquiry rather than an inquiry that is district specific. In terms of the complaints we received, perhaps I could just alert or guide in terms of the highest number of complaints that we have received. And this would be from the Ugu District Municipality. We have received the most number of complaints, followed by eThekwini and other municipalities.
Now, this is a 5-day process that you are undergoing. Talk to us about, just some of the things that have come out where you think, that the province has clear plans to deal with some of these issues. You say that after 5 days, you will try and provide solutions yourself. But what have you found, that the actual province has been doing, in some of these problems that have been highlighted?
I think what's coming out so far in terms of the testimony is there seems to be similar challenges that are coming through in terms of lack of infrastructure, lack of maintenance, lack of budget. There seems to be a deficit in terms of available raw water. And I think in terms of these, the municipalities that have come forward thus far have indicated that they do have plans to address some of these issues. But again, budget is a huge element that affects the implementation of their plans. And this has a ripple effect, obviously, on the various communities that are affected. At this stage, the Commission would have to still assess and determine in terms of the plans that have been put forth as to whether these are sufficient in addressing the needs of the community in terms of access to water.
I know that you are currently in KZN, but as you rightfully said, you know, these are issues that stem from systemic challenges across the country. Are you going to be visiting other provinces anytime soon?
So, as you know, the Commission has offices in all 9 provinces. And our respective provincial officers are having separate inquiries in terms of the violations that they have received. So there have been some provinces that have already had these sort of inquiries on access to water in their respective provinces, such as Mpumalanga, the Eastern Cape, for example, and other provinces will also be looking into these issues.
Pavershree, that's where we leave it for now. Thank you so much for your time, Pavershree Padayachee. She's the Commission's acting provincial manager.